The Exxon Valdez disaster, a collision of negligence and catastrophe. What happens when we place profit over protection? When technology fails? When human error meets corporate negligence? On March 24, 1989, the world witnessed a devastating answer to these questions. It was just after midnight. The Exxon Valdez, a supertanker nearly 3 football fields long, was navigating through Alaska's Prince William Sound. Captain Joseph Hazelwood had unexpectedly turned control over to third mate Gregory Cousins, a man unauthorized to pilot the vessel through these treacherous waters. At 12:04 a.m., while attempting to avoid icebergs, the ship veered off course. What happened next would become one of history's most infamous environmental disasters. The Exxon Valdez struck Bligh Reef, tearing open its hull. Within hours, 11 million gallons of crude oil, nearly 250,000 barrels, began pouring into one of the most pristine ecosystems on Earth. By morning, a black stain stretched across the Sound, eventually covering 1,300 miles of coastline, roughly the distance from Boston to Miami. The oil would ultimately spread over 11,000 square miles of ocean. The impact on wildlife was catastrophic. The death toll at approximately 250,000 seabirds, 2,800 sea otters, 300 harbor seals, 250 bald eagles, and billions of salmon and herring eggs. Many species in the region have never fully recovered. For the fishing communities and native Alaskans who depended on these waters, the disaster was an economic and cultural catastrophe. The water was our grocery store, one Alutiiq elder later recalled. Overnight, the shelves were emptied. The response was tragically inadequate. Despite Exxon's contingency plans promising equipment to contain a major spill within hours, effective containment didn't begin for nearly 38 hours. By then, it was too late. While Exxon executives managed public relations, ordinary citizens and local fishermen led much of the cleanup. Over 11,000 people worked to save what they could. Some volunteers scrubbed rocks by hand, knowing full well that the oil had already penetrated beyond reach. The legal aftermath dragged on for decades. Though originally ordered to pay $5 billion in punitive damages, Exxon fought the ruling until 2008, when the Supreme Court reduced the amount to just $507 million, less than 1 year of the company's profits at the time. Today, Prince William Sound appears to have recovered. The tourists have returned. The water looks clean, but dig just inches below the surface of some beaches and you'll still find oil, barely degraded after 3 decades. Scientists estimate that 21,000 gallons of oil remain tucked into the ecosystem's nooks and crannies. More concerning, some species have never rebounded. The once thriving herring fishery collapsed and has not returned. The disaster did spark positive change. Oil tankers are now required to have double hulls. Monitoring systems are more sophisticated. Response protocols are more robust. But as the Deepwater Horizon catastrophe reminded us in 2010, when we extract fossil fuels from fragile ecosystems, we're always one human error away from disaster. When you fill your car's tank or turn up your thermostat, remember the true cost of our oil dependency. The Exxon Valdez reminds us that some damage can't be undone. Some consequences last generations, and some lessons must never be forgotten.